Hello everybody, I'm Stephanie. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. We're going to be taking some movement in our bodies to find a little bit more release in the hips. This is more of a restorative hips though. So for today's flow, you're going to need a pillow, a block or books to kind of prop yourself up, and then a blanket. Find those things and join me on your mat wherever you're at, and let's get started. So with today's movement, we're finding more of restorative movements. And what that means is instead of using engagement of muscles to find length and extension and really pressing and pushing through poses, we're letting go instead. We're finding length, letting the muscles lengthen, letting the muscles soften. So beginning in any kind of comfortable seated position, just beginning to move the spine, but really paying attention to how it relates to how the hips are moving. Inhale, reach up through the crown. Hands can come to the knees. They can stay by your sides on the mat, wherever you'd like them to be. But really reaching the crown up, belly buttons pulling into spine. And then exhale, reaching the heart forward. Reaching the hips back. So if you begin to feel the hips lift, really grounding down through the sits bones. Inhale, come back up to center. We're going to take two more like that. And if you want to, you can grab your pillow. On the third one, we're going to really rest and release into the posture. So one more time. Inhale, heart reaches forward. On the exhale, we're coming just a little bit further. Hips are staying grounded down. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, reach your crown as far as you can. This time, just kind of settling in. The hands can come out in front of you. Maybe they rest on the pillow. Maybe they cross forearm on top of forearm. You can rest the forehead down. You can rest the heart down. You can switch the pillow up, but really finding a comfortable position so that you're not struggling to keep the length. You're letting go. Keep reaching forward through the crown and back through the hips, not letting the hips come off the mat. One more breath here. Feeling the muscles in the low back lengthen and give a little bit more release to the hips. On your next inhale, come all the way back up. You can remove that pillow that you brought in front of you. And this time we're going to find some movement side to side. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, left palm down, right arm reaches up and over, and pressing down through the opposite knee and the opposite hip. So you're not rolling onto your left side. You're pressing down through the right hip, finding length. So it's a little bit more active to begin with. And then on your exhale, just kind of relaxing into it. Not having to press so much down through the hip as it releases. Inhale, back through center, other side. Right palm down, left arm up and over. Gentle press down through the left knee, left hip. Find the length, and then releasing. Just feeling how heavy the left hip gets, creating length in both sides of the body. We're holding these a little bit longer than we usually do at the beginning of our flows, just to find some release. We're going to do that one more time, both sides. Inhale through center. Exhale. This time you can plant the palm or come down to the forearm, finding a little bit more depth of posture, and release. So there's no engagement in the muscles. If you begin to feel like you're rocking onto the left hip and the right hip's lifting, come back up to the palm. Or maybe you put a block underneath your forearm. Inhale, back through center, other side, palm, block, or down to the forearm. Again, check in, see how things are feeling. Both sides might feel very, very different. Be okay if you need to modify in one side. Doesn't go quite as far as the other. Inhale, back to center. Both hands reach up overhead. And on your exhale, hands are going to come down by your side and reach behind you, making sure that you're seated on top of your mat. We're going to be coming onto the knees. So if you've got talkative knees here, you can grab your blanket and roll that blanket up so that it's long. And instead of coming just onto the mat, you'll be able to come onto the blanket. So hands coming back behind you. You've got the cushioning underneath your knees if you need to. Inhale to lengthen. Keep the length on your heart. And on your exhale, you're reaching the hips forward, coming onto the knees. You can look up to the ceiling. You can look back behind you. Exhale, come back down. You can walk those hands in closer. You can walk them further back behind you. Inhale, lengthen the heart. Exhale, hips reach forward. Chin reaches up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come back down. We're going to switch legs. So whatever leg has been in front, switch to the other leg being in front. Hands come behind you. Inhale, torso lifts. Exhale, hips reach forward. So it's just small to begin with. And then maybe the second time, walk the hands in a little bit closer. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hips reach forward. Exhale, have a seat. Coming back down. You can remove your blanket. We'll use that a little bit later, so make sure you still have access to it. And we're going to find a seated twist, beginning with the left leg extended, and the right foot's going to come in as close as possible and crosses over. We're going to keep the left leg long because we really don't want to have to worry about making a change or a modification. We want to release more into it. Right palm's going to come behind you. Left hand's going to come to the knee, or maybe you just give it a hug. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale, beginning to twist over to the right, letting go. Inhale, lengthen again. Exhale, can you let go a little bit more? Feeling more of a release, beginning at the hip, all the way up the spine. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Come all the way back through center and switch legs. Right leg's going to go long. Left knee bends. Left foot comes as close as possible in and crosses over. We're keeping the leg long. Left palm comes behind you. Right hand to knee, or give it a little hug. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release, twisting over to the left. But really paying attention to how the twist is beginning in the hip. Inhale, lengthen again. Exhale, release a little bit more. They're just teeny, teeny, tiny movements. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. And come all the way back to center, bringing your right foot out and then bending the left knee so you're coming onto both feet. You can cross the ankles if you'd like to, maybe taking a little bit of gentle movement again, finding some circles this time. So one foot's going to come out in front of the other, coming to an easy posture. Inhale, lengthen the heart, hands coming to the knees or to the mat. We're going to find a circle counterclockwise. And reverse your direction. Maybe the circle gets a little bit bigger. Releasing the low back. It's going to affect how the hips are feeling. And then coming back to center. Very gently, you're going to pick up your right leg. Left hand's going to come underneath the right ankle. Right arm is going to come underneath it, so you're kind of hugging it very gently. Now, if this is not a comfortable position for you, you're welcome to just skip this one. This is kind of rocking the baby. We're really pulling the hip up, but instead of having to use some engagement of muscles in the leg's just going to relax completely, and we're going to let the arms do the work. So you're hugging the right leg in as if it was a baby, and you're just kind of rocking that baby. It might feel a little cranky in the right hip. Just noticing how it feels. Keeping a nice long torso. Begin to quiet the baby down. And on your next exhale, gently, gently, might be teeny tiny, pulling the right leg in. But all the work is coming from the arms and not the leg. Release very gently. Put that baby back down. Left foot's going to come in front of the right. We're going to find those circles from the waist again. So hands coming to knees or mat. Inhale, heart reaches up, lengthen the torso, and we're finding some movement clockwise to the right. Very small to begin. The circles might get a little bit bigger, and then reverse your direction. Torso comes back up to center. All right, left leg's time. Seeing how cranky this baby is. Right hand goes underneath the left ankle. Left hand goes underneath, behind the knee. You can make a connection if you'd like to, very gently, or you can walk the hands apart depending on how open the hips are normally. Just beginning to rock the baby, finding some movement in the left hip, but the left leg is dead weight. It's not doing any of the work. So if I took the hands away, the leg would just completely fall back to the floor. One more gentle rock. And then belly button pulls in, nice tall torso, pulling the left leg in. Just very, very gently. If the baby starts to get cranky again, starts to wake up, maybe you go back to just rocking it gently. And release, putting that side down. Hands are going to come out in front of you, and we're making our way to tabletop just for a moment. We're setting up for sleeping pigeon. Right foot's going to step between the hands and toe heeling the right foot over to the left, reaching back through the left knee, left hip. Everybody's bodies are different, so if you need to, just to be a little bit more loving with your hips today, maybe you sit on a block underneath the right hip. You can even use a blanket or a pillow. And we're really not looking for extent of the posture right now. So if you usually bring your shin all the way out towards the front of your mat, or even just a little bit, we want to keep the right ankle very close into the left hip, because we're going to take this in stages here. So maybe gently just rocking side to side. Inhale, heart reaches forward, and exhale, coming down. Forearms, two fists underneath the forehead, palms out. Really relaxing all the way through the legs. Letting the knees soften, the glutes soften. You're welcome to just stay here if you want to take it a little bit deeper. Coming back up to the palms, and then beginning to walk the shin a little bit further forward. Settling in again, maybe taking some movement, and then coming back down. Forearms, two fists, palms out. Quieting down again, the knees, the glutes, the hips. This time really spending a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. And as you breathe out through the nose, send that breath all the way down into the right hip. Feel how that mental connection between the breath, being guided by the mind, down into the physical body, into the right hip, helps it to soften.
One more breath in through the nose. Mentally send all that breath, that release, to the right hip. Other side, walking the hands back up. Very gently tucking the left toes, pressing into the palms, left toes. We're going to come back to tabletop, but we're going to find some movement first. So maybe reaching the tailbone, the hips kind of side to side. Bring some fluid back into the right hip. And then step your left foot up between your hands. And as you toe heel your left foot over to the right, right knee, right toes are walking back. We're really bringing the left ankle close into the hip to begin. Make any adjustments you need. Left hip can sit on a block, book, blanket, pillow, whatever you need. Inhale, heart reaches up. Exhale, heart forward, coming down, letting your pigeon sleep. Maybe taking some movement again, settling in. Kind of rocking your pigeon to sleep this time. And then checking in, seeing how the left hip feels. You can stay here as you soften through the left knee, through the left glute. If you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, walking the hands back up, walking the left shin a little bit further forward, as long as the hips stay square, and then letting the pigeon sleep again. But we're taking this in stages to really let the body, let the hips release, instead of going directly in to the full extent of a posture for your body. We're going to take those 2 deep breaths, sending that mental release into the left hip, in through the nose, and out through the nose, feeling the left hip lengthen and soften. One more time, breathing in and out. Walking the hands back up, curling the right toes and coming back to your tabletop. Take that motion through the hips, side to side. And this time we're going to take a new one. I don't know if we've ever done this one together. We're going to be taking a frog posture. Taking your blanket just from some extra cushion and then coming onto your knees on top of your blanket. You're going to widen your knees as far as comfortable and bring your ankles in line with your knees. So the ankles aren't back behind the knees, they're in line with the knees, and the toes turned out to the side. You can even grab a block and place this in front of you to rest on a little bit. This might be as far as you're comfortable, just staying on the palms. You can begin to walk the hands forward. You can come down to the forearms. You can take that block and place it right underneath the sternum, coming down onto the block, and then maybe bringing forehead down to the mat. And with each exhale, the knees might slide a little bit wider. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, down into the hips. If it ever becomes too intense, you can always come out. We're here for one more cycle of breath. Then bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders, pressing up, very gently bringing the knees back in. Moving the block out of the way, coming off of your blanket, and moving that out of the way also. And bringing the feet out from underneath you. Coming all the way down to your back. We're going to come into a reclining pigeon, crossing your right ankle over your left knee. Press your right knee away. And this time, if you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, reaching behind the left hamstring, left foot can come up off the floor, or the left leg might extend. With your exhale, pulling in the left leg to find a little bit more depth of posture or stretch in the right hip. But can you soften through the right hip instead of activating it? One more breath here. Then bend your left knee. Left foot's going to come back down to the mat. Cross your right ankle and grabbing right below your right kneecap. You might keep the left foot to the floor. Just testing out how things are doing. We're doing in little tiny steps. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, pulling in the right knee over to the side and compressing the right side belly. It might feel good just to keep the left leg bent. You might extend the left leg, but if you extend the left leg and you notice that it wants to kind of hover, you can't kind of release it all the way down, that's an indication that the left hip, the left psoas is a little tight, so you might bend the knee and put the foot back on the ground. One more inhale through the nose and exhale, pulling the knee in, compressing the right side belly. And release. Right foot's going to come down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Left ankle over your right knee. Press the left knee away. You can stop there. You can grab behind the right hamstring. You can keep the knee bent, or you can extend the right leg. Gently, gently, very, very tiny steps, pulling in the right leg with the hands to pull the left leg closer into the body. Mentally relaxing the left hip. One more breath here. If you straighten the right leg, bend the right knee, bottom of the right foot comes back down to the mat, left ankle uncrosses. You're going to grab right below the left knee. Inhale to prepare, exhale, pull it in. Compress the left side belly. Stay there for a moment. See how that feels. And then if you'd like to, test the waters. Right leg can extend. Again, if the right leg's hovering, you might bring the sole of the right foot back. One more deep inhale and exhale. Pull the left knee in. This time we're taking this into a twist, but we're really bringing the awareness more into twisting the hips than the belly. So right hand's going to stay to the knee, left palm's going to open to the side, cactus or full arm extension. Left knee's going to go to the right. You're just going to roll onto the right hip and not worry so much about pulling the right hip underneath you, because it's not so much a belly twist as we want to twist the hips a little bit more. When we walk the right hip under, that brings the intention more to a belly twist. You are getting a twist in the belly, but it kind of does a double duty here of twist in the belly and twist in the hips. Just noticing how that feels, not only on your left hip, but also on your right hip. Inhale back through center. We're going to switch sides. Bending your right knee, left leg is going to go long to the floor. Left hand comes to your right knee, right palm opens to the side, cactus or full extension. With your exhale, you're just rolling over onto your left hip. And if you notice, my left hip is almost at a diagonal from my spine. It's not in line with my spine because I want to get this 2 for the price of 1 kind of belly twist and hip twist. Inhale, come back to center. Left knee is going to come up to meet the right, so both knees are over top of your belly. And you're going to keep the bend in your knees, but reach your heels up for the ceiling. We're coming into happy baby, grabbing inside, outside of ankles, shins, or the bottom of the feet. But not making bottom of the feet the goal. If you have to lift the torso to reach the bottom of the feet, maybe reaching down a little bit lower. Again, once you make your connection, can you let the legs kind of go heavy and let the arms do the work? Inhale to prepare, exhale, pulling in. Feeling the inner hips release, lengthen. One more breath here. Then releasing wherever you've made that connection. Soles of the feet are going to come together and the knees are opening up to the sides. If you got a lot of fluff, you might have to lift and let the fluff come up a little bit. to kind of keep the hips opening up so that you're not keeping the pelvis tipped back. So we want to come to a neutral pelvis, bottom of the soles together, and really let gravity open the hips up. The hands can come to the belly, they can come to the sides, wherever you'd like them to be. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Again, letting the legs, letting the hips get heavy. So that gravity is opening the hips up and you're not using the muscles to press through. It's more of a letting go. Inhaling through the nose. And this time exhaling through the mouth. Feeling the hips a little bit heavier. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Can you even let the glutes relax? Sometimes in this posture, we squeeze everything in the glutes to kind of lift ourselves up. Just relaxing even through there. Then bringing the knees back together. Feet are going to step down and apart the width of the mat. Hands come by your side. On your exhale, both knees go to the right. Just taking some gentle motion. Inhale through center. Exhale, both knees go to the left. You might do that one more time if that feels good. Then rocking onto one side or the other, all the way over. And using your palm to press yourself back up to seated position, coming back to your easy posture, ending where we came from, noticing just that little bit more openness that you've created in the hips. Thank you so much for joining me in this time, finding some release and restorative movements in the hips. Blessings and namaste.